Let's not. Well, don't look then. So I'm Dermie. I'm here as usual with New Game Plus executive producer Jason O'Callaghan. I'm back after 2 weeks running away with Easter with family, and then I went to see a play.
You did.
It was an inspiring play about a bunch of sex addicts who basically started the United States of America. And it's about a guy who married into a really rich family and got into US politics. It's inspiring.
Yeah,
Don won't like that. Don's just gone, that's it, I'm out.
Shout out to Kamala Harris.
Yes, stuff this podcast. I went to saw Hamilton. Went and saw Hamilton in Sydney. That's where I was last weekend. So it was good fun. My daughter's in love with it.
Being called a Bezos shill.
What did I do? Oh, yes, AWS. I like my AWS developer shirts. There you go. Well, I am one. I'm actually, yes, I am. But really, we were talking about this before. What are the options? Really, I can be a Bezos shill or a Microsoft shill. Who runs?
Azure is Microsoft.
Yeah, Azure. I'm trying to think. Who's there? Satya something. I think anyway. I can't remember the head of Microsoft. He doesn't get since Gates has gone. And Barmer. I can't remember the head of Microsoft. But anyway,
that's right. No, Bill Gates is too busy convincing Oxford to sell the AstraZeneca vaccine to companies instead to sell. Yeah, so he convinced Oxford to sell the AstraZeneca vaccine and get rid of their open clause to AstraZeneca.
Yeah, I did see that. So it was supposed to be given away, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's not even a
probably don't want it
hat. That's quite legitimately a thing that happens.
Well, remember, this is what I've discovered with conspiracy theories, right? A conspiracy theory is anything that the mainstream news hasn't said yet, basically, and it depends which one you watch.
Well, I even saw this on. I think it was on Sydney Morning Herald, to be honest. But
if I spend my day watching Sky News and anything on there is a conspiracy theory. If I read The Guardian, anything that's on Sky News is a conspiracy theory.
To be fair, Sky News is a conspiracy theory full stop.
Well, I mean, they're all I see is idiots, basically. Yeah. But anyway, let's we do a podcast about games. So other than Hamilton, I've been playing a lot of Minecraft. What have you been doing?
Looking in horror, you going to see Lewis Spears in concert.
I took my boy. And my girl, but my boy loves Lewis.
The 13-year-old boy would have loved it.
He's 14, but you know what? He was wrapped because he finally he was so happy to meet somebody who's on YouTube. Yeah, nice. He met a YouTuber. I'm like going, your dad's got videos all over YouTube, but he didn't give a shit. Yeah. So he met Lewis Spears. He was so happy.
I would say yes. So someone with a juvenile sense of humour playing politics. That sounds like your father. Like I don't even know.
It's kind of annoys me a little bit. So the kids won't watch any of this stuff I do, but they'll watch like my daughter's obsessed with the Dream SMP crowd. You know, Technoblade, Skeppy, Tommy Innit. What's his name?
I'm millennial. How the fuck would I know?
Forgotten the name of her favourite one. Anyways,
I'm millennial. How would I know? I'm early millennial, late X. So.
You're at Twitch age. So there's different ages. There's YouTube age and there's Twitch age.
Because you can spot the difference. You absolutely can spot the difference. Like YouTube, Twitch for sure is, I would say 18 to 20 up into 30s, and then. YouTube is anything under 18.
Which is kind of weird how YouTube does all these things pretending that they're not an underage video platform.
Shout out to Elsagate,
but also the stuff that the Paul brothers do and that. Yeah. I mean, they pretend they're not an underage platform, but they're absolutely an underage platform. But then again, YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, they're all riddled with child porn as well, like full-on actual legit child porn. So they all have a strange value system at those places. Hey, but don't say anything bad about. Anyway, what's say? So here we go. Let's. So you've been playing.
Just Monster Hunter, honestly. Just been playing.
Big hi to Tom. Yep.
Lots of cheap games on.
Monster Hunter. Yep.
Cheap games on Switch again, as per usual. Mech Extermination Force was a great little boss rush game that was like reminded me a little bit of those kind of Mega Man-y kind of games. Like you play a little dude killing giant robots, and you've got to do the right basically sequence of events to hit. It's a bit Toho shooter, bit. Those kind of games. Overlanders was cool, but I wouldn't pay more than $1 for it. There was a few good games I bought, but Monster Hunter mainly. So.
I was going to go with the Minecraft story first.
Yeah.
Caves and Cliffs update. Anyone that plays Minecraft? I don't think this is our audience is normally an older audience, but anyway.
I mean, they might be listening to the car with the kids, and the kids will be pogging in the backseat. Yeah.
Caves and Cliffs update, which is coming soon, which is the biggest
What's
update
the difference
since
between that and normal?
It's the biggest update since the Nether update. It's basically what the Caves and Cliffs update adds is a whole heap of new blocks, obviously, a whole heap of a couple of animals, axolotls, which are like underwater dogs, underwater cats, and goats, mountain goats,
right.
and also they've made it so you've got lush caves now. So so they've got lush caves. So the caves now have a lot more in them. So they're not just dark, empty spaces. They've got like plants and glowy things and that. Stalactites and stalagmites.
So that's a little bit Terraria then, because Terraria does all that kind of stuff.
They've added a lot. In fact, this is where it's an enormous update. It doesn't now go from Y level 0 to Y level about 128. Right. It now goes from like minus 60 to like 300 or something. So they've made the chunks are made big. Anyway, so it's a big update.
Like I feel like a boomer.
If you play, okay, boomer. If you play Minecraft, everybody who play Minecraft will be excited. But it's going down the path, I think, of the Super Duper Graphics Pack, which is what they announced a little while ago for Minecraft and said they were going to spruce up the graphics, and then they found it was too hard. Yeah, right. And they just bailed.
Because the voxel thing is so inbuilt into the game, and then you've got games like Valheim now, which are doing the voxel thing for actual, trying to be modern graphics. So I wonder, I don't know, it's just so fundamental to the thing. Like, what does good graphics give Minecraft?
Well, it's weird because I've got a giant 150-inch projector screen. My kids play Minecraft. The blocks are like a metre big, which is actually how big they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, well, so it's basically the height of a chunk. Anyway, so they've I think they've bitten off a bit more than they could chew, because now they've announced this Caves and Cliffs update, which will be massive. Like I said, biggest update since the Nether update, which added a bunch of biomes in the Nether and stuff like that. Yeah. They're broken into two parts. Right. So instead of coming out as one part, it's coming in two, which the first one will be all the blocks and the axolotls and the goats and that. And the axolotls will be cool. They're, like I said, swimming cats, basically.
I don't know what axolotls are.
And you can train them, they'll protect you in that. It's really cool. And all the blocks are going to be there, but the actual biomes, the new mountain biomes and stuff like that, are going to be held off a bit longer because they're having trouble doing it. And it looked a bit like that when I saw all the updates. I thought, they're struggling a bit here.
They're doing it by stealth. They're doing it in increments as opposed to one big bang.
I wouldn't die a shock if they bail on the... on the biome update.
I don't know what it adds. Like, you know, I mean, biome's different. Like,
I wouldn't die a shock if it actually, like with the Super Duper Graphics Pack, they'll release the blocks, but I think they're very ambitious change to the rendering of the world, which increases the size of the world. I think they might. I'd be worried right now they might not bail on it, but it'll be nice to have axolotls. Trained killer fish, effectively.
Every axolotl I've ever seen in life just sits there in a tank like this.
No, they're like swimming pink cats. They're like swimming cats.
Have you ever seen a real life axolotl?
In Minecraft?
You didn't grow up around hippies.
In Minecraft?
You didn't grow up around hippies.
There you
go. Good for Minecraft players, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
okay, boomer.
Never interests me.
Wilbur Soot. I just remembered. That's the name of the... See, my daughter loves Tommy and Wilbur Soot. Sorry. In the Dream SMP server. I was trying to remember before.
I don't know what any of that means.
Okay, a Dream SMP. Okay, well you're into managing esports stuff, right?
Yes.
So you know a lot about that. The Dream SMP is massive. It's like imagine if there was the AFL and nobody knew about it, right?
Yeah, it's like a streamer house.
It's just so big. The amount of it is massive. You can buy merch from them. All my kids and all their friends are all into it. They have the Technoblade and Skeppy and that and Dream and all that. It's just a massive Minecraft. Well, not massive community. It's a bunch of Minecraft streamers. Yeah, that do different things, and they make. They package it into very well done videos with stories and that. They've obviously got a fair bit of backing. They've got a fair bit of editing behind them. A lot of prospects.
What's that lady whose kid was good at Call of Duty and she leveraged that into like a management business?
Well, this is a big thing that a lot of people who are over say 16 may not know about.
I don't have kids. I didn't even get secondary exposure. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't know about it until they showed me the videos. It's enormous. Anyway, and they've been buying each other like for for like presents for birthdays, like posters and cups of these people. Like, so anyway, we just remember Technoblade never dies. I nominated him for they had a greatest sportsman of all time thing on SEN. Right. Who is it? Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, by the way. Yeah. That's the answer.
I mean, that is the answer, yeah.
Because it's just best at anything I've ever seen. And I actually, you can nominate, and people would nominate Walter Lindrum in Beards. It was Australian, very spectacularly good at it. They had to change the rules. If they have to change the rules...
You've done well, yeah.
Yeah, like with Schumacher in Formula 1. Anyway...
I mean, honestly, that's Admiral Bulldog and Dota. They basically changed Dota so much from the way they won their international, their over thing, that it was like they completely said we're never going back to a similar meta again, and they've never gone back.
Yeah, if they change the rules, then you've got so good at it that you should go down in history as almost Bradman in cricket. He was still twice as good as anyone's come. Been playing for 100 years.
As long as you ignore his personal life.
So I nominated Technoblade because he never dies, and also nominated Scott Sterling, one of the greatest sportsmen ever. Anyone who doesn't know who Scott Sterling is,
just Google Scott.
Sterling.
It'll be the first one that comes up.
So, greatest sports people of all time. Okay, another game news because I'm just crapping on. Square Enix reckons they're not for sale. Now, we talked about this. Now, I said that they've got some franchises that I believe are just there to be used, and they're not using them enough, and that's Deus Ex. They did Perfect Dark, don't they?
No, that's Microsoft. That's rare.
No, who's no, there's the other one. They do Just Cause.
Just Cause.
I can't remember the other ones. Yeah, they got a couple of franchises. That's probably what I'm thinking of, actually, because I was thinking of a female character. Yeah, girl character. No, that's the one I was thinking of. But so that would be perfect for something like Microsoft to buy, put on Game Pass, and just keep releasing games in those series. But they reckon they're not for sale. So we've spoken about them before.
My only thing to that is the more specific your rejection, the less likely it is to be true. So for me, it's one of two things. It's number one, it's people leaking to sources to try and cause a run on the stock market, which is still a legitimate strategy and happens to
Square Enix donks.
Yeah. Right? So that's the other one. Or, it is in talks, but they don't want anyone to know about it, and so that's how they facilitate that. That's the only two things I could think of that would be true.
Well, they're denying it, and I always say, if you have to say something that's not true, I hear that when I go to businesses and they tell me stuff. We run a tight ship here, or we work real hard. It's something not true. Or couples that are all like, I love you. If you have to say it's not true, so that's me being a cynical old man.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And the more overt the reaction, the more we agree. Absolutely.
The more it's over the top, the more it's absolutely not true. Tomb Raider. Yeah, Oz had just corrected me there. Sorry, Oz. I got to wait. I was thinking of something else, but anyway. Another game news, I'll keep it moving. Oxenfree 2 is coming later this year. Now, I don't know if you played Oxenfree.
Oxenfree was the 3D game, the indie game, wasn't it?
The indie game, and it's you're on an island, and there's like I won't go into spoil the game, but there's like some ghosts of dead sailors around. It is, if you haven't played Oxenfree, it only takes maybe 3 hours to play. If it's really, but it's a compelling story. It's a very easy to play, not too hard, very, very interesting sort of story. We found it. I played it with the kids, and it was one of those games we sat down and just went start to finish one night, like almost a movie night, but a game. It's good. Oxenfree, fantastic game. Oxenfree 2 coming later this year. I'm pretty keen on that, because I like the first one so much.
Look, there's a lot of great games like that. Like, you can laugh it out of Perna and stuff what you want, but even What Remains of Edith Finch is a great game. There's a bunch of them even Spiritfarer was nice. Whether I'd pay $30 for it is another question, but it's on Game Pass. It was a great little...
Well, Oxenfree's like $5 on the Switch. Yeah. Worth that. It's on Game Pass, so it's worth free. If you don't have if you don't have Game Pass, it's worth spending $15 to get a heap of stuff. So do that. So anyway, next one. Now is I'm just going to run this podcast with a wall here just for a bit. Right. So this is Jason. He's just opting out of this podcast just for a minute or two. Sony has announced an update to PlayStation 5, which they actually said, and this is okay. Sony's at their best, and this is what Sony does good. They've got an update to the PS5, and they said finally you can store games on an external USB drive. Okay. Sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds great. Oh, sorry, you're not in this part of the podcast. Right. Okay. But they didn't mention something very much in the releases. They just left a bit out.
Can I Tonight Show Johnny Carson it. So I'll.
Are you mind reading?
Fold up your piece of paper.
Yeah, don't look. Yep.
So, Johnny Carson it. What it'll be is you can store them on the USB, but you can't.
Ding. Keep going. I was doing it.
You can't actually play them.
No, you can't. It's actually worse than the Wii. Remember the Wii?
So the only caveat here would be if it's an Xbox Series X title, to play it has to be on your main storage, right? But all of your Xbox One and Xbox 360 games can run off your USB hard drive.
And original Xbox? Oh yeah, there's one. Sorry, yep.
No concerns whatsoever, right? You just play them.
Yep.
So it's weird, I guess, because they don't have the backwards compatibility thing in the same levels as Microsoft. They don't have to. They have to
same level, which makes one of the other PlayStation stories later completely confusing to me. But we'll get to that soon. But no, you can install. You can basically, it means you just don't have to keep downloading stuff. And as internet does, even in Australia, it gets fast. It's not as much of an issue. But you have to then copy from the external USB drive to your internal drive to play your games.
Yeah, so like I say, for Series X, that's the same thing. You can't run a 3.0 drive on the outside of it and use that as external. You can buy that memory card thing that costs you like $200. It'll add an extra terabyte.
Buy another Xbox.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
actually, how much are they?
You can't buy them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they cost. You can't get them.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're talking PlayStation.
Well, either PlayStation or Series X. Yeah. They don't, which is again, there's a PlayStation story later that just confused me when I put it here. But anyway, so yes, you can download stuff. You can put stuff now on your PlayStation 5 external USB drive, but you still can't play it. You still can't play it. All it does is saves you from downloading it again.
It's Seagate, not the same. $359 for 1 terabyte.
Bargain. How much is a 1 terabyte Series X? They're all 1 terabyte. Anyway, doesn't matter. So now, back in the Wii days, remember you could put in an SD card up to I think 4 gig, and you do that. But what it would do, it would automatically copy the game into the internal memory, then play it as you need it. So if it wasn't installed internally, so Sony have almost caught up to the Wii. So nice work, guys. Keep it up. Now, you can rejoin the podcast.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'm back. Hey, what I missed?
Hey, Jason. Nice of you to walk in.
What I missed, yeah.
Okay, Crysis Remastered has had, games getting a 60 frame per second boost.
Yeah.
So, Crysis Remastered. Remember, Crysis was how you tested your PC to see if you could cook stuff on it?
Yeah, you want to see a company that kind of just, they made the original Far Cry. Ubisoft bought the original Far Cry. They spun off, made Crysis, which was the same game, well, a similar game. And then, for years it was a benchmarking tool for...
Yeah, well, it was a benchmarking tool, effectively. I've never played it. I should give it a crack, because I'm curious.
The whole series is fine. Like, if you got it cheap, say you got the whole pack for $30-$40, they're fine. Like, they're old school shooters, but they're fine. It's worth playing through once. So.
Yeah, I'll give it a crack.
So if you can play USB 3 games on Series X, yes, but you can't play Series X games through your USB drive.
The Xbox Series X still has it over the PS to that degree with backward compatibility. Okay, now Crysis, it does have a 60 frame per second boost on Xbox Series X and the PS5. And for the weenies out there that give a shit, the PS5 can play Crysis, the former benchmarking tool, at 1080p at 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
And if you turn ray tracing on, you can do it at 1440p. I wrote down here, 60 frames per second. There's also quality mode that goes up really much higher than that. Right. Now, to compare that to the Xbox Series X for people, because I know there are people out there that really, the benchmarks are important to them, right? They really matter. Xbox Series X, exactly the same.
Not mine,
So all these people are ready to hop on to Reddit and that and go, my console's better. Well, suck shit.
Reddit's an interesting place at the moment, just because there's so many. Every time there's a rumor now, it's Microsoft buying someone, because after Bethesda, you just can't trust that they're not just going to buy someone.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are on there carrying on, and there's the SDF are out in force about Jim Kelly. It's pretty funny to see. Like, you're calling Jim Kelly as bad as Matrick. It's like, well...
That's a big call, though. I mean,
that's the thing. It's like, no, because Matrick was just god-awful. But Jim's making some interesting calls now that he's taken over.
See, Matrick to me... Matrick was a bit of a visionary because he actually said everyone would just want to watch TV on the Xbox. I turn on my Xbox, see what my friends are doing. It's all Netflix and YouTube anyway.
But because that's the thing, if that was sold as like a side feature of
Matrick, you actually got it right.
It's again, that's the meme, TV, Xbox, TV, Xbox.
And sports, remember sports?
Yeah, but as a joke, it's a joke, but at the same time, using those apps on the PS4 is very clunky. Using it on Xbox is piss easy. It's so easy.
Some of the Xbox interface still has holdovers from the Kinect.
Yeah.
Just because they did like Nintendo did with the waggle on the Wii. They just force Kinect on, and that was annoying as well. When they force things, because
the best thing you could do with the Kinect was hold up the code from any thing you bought, and it automatically put into your system.
Can you do that?
So you paid like 200.
Saved me a lot of time.
Paid $200 to not type in codes anymore. Except I get all mine via email, so it doesn't help me. So yeah,
I like when people post them to Twitter and then they go, "Fuck, someone's used my code."
Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to take based on that PS5 story before about this. This is some US stats, right? The PlayStation 5 is officially the fastest selling console in US history over its first 5 months of being on sale.
Right, not surprised.
Oh, I was surprised by that because I didn't think anyone could buy them. So obviously they're only going to the US.
But so I feel like, again, you've just summed up why I'm not surprised, because I feel like the shortages that everyone else is having has not affected the States in quite the same manner.
So it's like vaccines. They all go to the US first.
Hey, man. You can say what you want about the Yanks, but their ability to produce, they'll be updated, and the Japanese will be vaccinated before we even will get too close to vaccinating, and that's insane.
I'm surprised they weren't pre-vaccinated.
How bad they
my wife's got the vaccine. She's got really good 5G coverage now.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
She keeps
seeing patterns and everything. She plays Minecraft with us now.
She started to draw these diagrams all over the house out of Christmas lights and stuff. And but still, the Switch is still the biggest selling console based on numbers and value. And US consumer spending on video games in March 2021 was $5.6 billion. So they're all staying home, obviously. And $680 million of that was hardware. That means you do the maths, 4.92 billion was software.
Yeah. So so you said 680 was hardware.
So 5.6 billion, 680 million was hardware.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. 4.92.
So you're the.
No, it's not that hard a number.
You really need to just hang around casinos more. I don't know why you.
No, they don't like me at casinos.
I don't know why you're not.
I just wait for drunk people to sit down at the blackjack table and take their money.
I remember I used to go play blackjack a lot. I used to go to casinos a lot when I was at uni, and you know how you can bet on other people. Anyway, so I was playing, and being a little bit autistic, my piles of chips were uneven, and my friends were going, "Let's go!" Right, so I've gone, I've got like an extra chip here. I just. So anyway, I was on like.
Really, tell me more, Gerard.
Put the monitor back up, damn it.
I spent half the time sitting.
Anyway, so I throw in the hand, right? But some guy's betting on me, like putting money behind. I wasn't really paying attention.
You damn kid.
I almost got beaten up. I was at uni at the time, and I was like 17, and I've gone, hit me. And the dealer's like, "You sure?" And hit, and I busted. There you go, have the chip, and instead of going to walk off, and the guy that bet on me, him and his friends were not happy. Never fuck with someone's money.
Especially in casino, especially in the old days, because that's when you just
probably lucky I'm here. Let's put it that way.
Wind up, put into the foundations of the newest edition.
And don't upset random people at casino too. That's another tip. You don't know who the hell they are. All right, cool. Where was I going? So the PlayStation 5, which I found weird, fastest selling over its first 5 months being on sale, is officially the fastest selling console in US history. I was shocked by that. I didn't think there'd be that many, but obviously all the PS5s are going to the US at the moment.
Well, you can find Xbox Series X's out here, and I feel like
honestly,
what?
It's not many.
No, you can still get them.
Okay.
Especially if you're willing to deal with the devil obviously has like an agreement to get 20% of all of them to hit the shores. Telstra. So if you go to Telstra,
what's the other option?
Compared to like EB and stuff. So let's say they bring in 100,000. They're obviously going cool. Well, 20,000 of those go straight to Telstra, and the rest go to.
The devil's being nice to them.
And so I feel like. At the moment, honestly, the Xbox is the better purchase, and then because what games are you playing on
You're playing remakes of PS4,
Demon
and
Demon
PS3
Souls.
games.
Yeah, Demon Souls is the game you play.
Get a hard to find console, pay a lot of money for it to play the old games on.
Yeah,
Sounds like a great deal. Did you know Telstra? Do you know Telstra does superannuation now?
Yep.
I can't.
That's why the government wants it in on bad.
I can't think of a company that is better geared to understand the future and plan for it than I can't continue.
And to invest wisely. Yeah.
Sorry, they're clueless idiots. But anyway, big
hello
to our sponsors, Telstra.
Yeah. So that's funny, Oz, because when I talked to Jan, that he's they reckon that no one's ever seen one, right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
When I saw it was the fastest selling console, I thought, is Sony like doing their normal Sony stuff, right?
Yeah.
They're being Sony.
It's shipped units. We've shipped 3 million. It's like...
Yeah, but they did that back in the days when they used to make retailers take a certain amount if they wanted the Sony stereos and TVs. If you wanted to sell Trinitron TVs, you had to have PlayStations in stock. And that's why they always said shipped. Yeah.
Yes, I've heard that, but you got to remember as well, it's 330 million people. PS4 was the normie console by far. Like, PS4 was so overwhelmingly outsold the Xbox One that there was that install base from there as well. So lots of Normans would be getting it first, and they'd be the ones who could pay someone to sit on eBay and buy one for $2,000. You know what I mean? So that's where they've gone. Like, your gamer mates are struggling and they should buy Series X.
I don't know which one's the most looted. That's a big US pastime at the moment. Yeah. All right, cool. Where we at? Where's it up to? Crysis. Ubisoft is shutting down a bunch of servers. Nothing exciting. They're obviously the online multiplayer servers. Assassin's Creed 2, Prince of Persia, Forgotten Sands, Splinter Cell, Conviction. And there was a couple others.
So they're all good games in their day.
There's like Settlers as well. Which,
I
suppose people still play that.
Well, the asymmetrical multiplayer of Broho 2, Assassin's Creed 2 was let down by the internet of the time.
Well, yeah.
But like the concept was great. It was like spot them in the crowd, kill them without being seen, because you've got someone watching you.
I suppose it'll work, yeah.
It was great. So you'd have 6 people in a server, right? So player 1 would be going after player 5, and player 2 would be going after player 4, and player 3 would be going after player... You know what I mean? Like, and vice versa. Yep. So you'd have a target, and sometimes you might share that target depending on how well you're going. And the idea was to kill them without them knowing it was you, blend into a background or run off and just don't get caught. But the problem was the multiplayer servers in those days were just, again, this was pre-NBN. This was migration with American servers.
Some parts of Australia is still pre-NBN.
Yeah. Well, Tim, our former host, he has ADSL2 into his building. ADSL2. And they, like, every time he's like, we'll pay for an upgrade. Like, what do you want to... No, I'm not doing it. And they're like, yeah. Again, firm liberal suburb where he lives too. Like, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why don't they take care of their suburbs?
Well, he lives in an apartment. What kind of gaudy, tacky shit lives in an apartment?
You should go to a sports club. They get heaps of money. But anyway, all right, cool. Okay. Later this year, and this is the bit of the story that I think will matter to people. Later this year, some of the games being shut down are they'll Ghost Recon, Future Soldier, and a couple of Rainbow Six ones, Rainbow Six Lockdown, and Vegas 1 and 2.
Well, Vegas 1 and 2. I'm sure there are still people, especially in like smaller countries, would still definitely be playing Vegas 1 and 2. Yeah,
so later this year, they're shutting down, Ubisoft is shutting down the service for those games. And I think that's going to be a bigger deal. Yeah. And it is one, they're only multiplayer in that, but then again, I mean... a game like Rainbow Six, you only play multiplayer.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there's the single player campaign if you play as just training. All right, cool. Now E3. Now I don't know how many we've done. 70. This is 78th podcast.
This 78th podcast.
I reckon it would have been 50 of them ago. I basically said E3's dead. So at least maybe even more. Maybe 60 ago. E3 2021. Have you heard?
It's online only.
Purely a virtual E3 now, which kind of
even Tokyo Game Show isn't that.
The days, remember the glory days of E3 where it had like the big things and all.
Because you've been to Tokyo Game Show, but you haven't been to E3. And E3 is huge.
I did want to go to E3. I thought that'd be good.
Well, you've seen the size of Makaro Messe Hall, right? The size of those big buildings, right?
Tokyo Game Show one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So E3 is twice that.
Yeah, but I got to admit, when I went to Tokyo Game Show, I felt fulfilled. Yeah. I felt that was because that was during an interesting time when we went a few years ago. That was an interesting time in gaming, and that was just that celebration that was needed for me to just feel better again. After all this shit, because I mean, it's all. I mean, whether you think it's valid or not, right? Whether you think all the shit that was going on video games
it brought into the mire a bit. Yeah,
it was just dragging down a thing that's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And when I went to Tokyo Game Show to see, especially with the Japanese, just seemed to like. Unlike here, where we do video games, we don't seem to be proud of it.
Yeah.
Whereas in Japan, they seem to be just proud of it, what they've done. You see, McDonald's has like Mario in their ads and stuff, and it was just.
The train line has that constant Animal Crossing recurring news ad. That's what they use as the news service.
It was just nicer, and it was clear that they were really happy with what they'd done, and they should be. They absolutely should be. It didn't seem to me at the time, like in the Western world, we were very proud of anything we'd done, which we should, even despite all the other stuff. The fact is, it built a major industry. It was worth more than movies and that, but it wasn't respecting itself. But going to Tokyo Game Show just a bit restored the faith. And after that, I didn't feel like I needed to go to E3.
Yeah, look, Tokyo Game Show this year, believe it or not, they sent out an email. I'm pretty sure we're allowed to announce it. That they have an offline press-focused event. So it's an offline... If you're a member of the press or the industry, you can go to offline Tokyo Game Show. Obviously, it'll be a smaller scale. It won't be quite the spectacle. What I reckon it'll be is... Remember how they have like the main hall and you have that footbridge to the smaller hall, like the fight? It'll all be in there.
Okay,
which is still fine. Like,
it was mostly the sales stuff.
Yeah. You get your Daily Yamazaki and your Boss Blacks. That's all I care about. So
I was looking at all the Sega Dreamcast merch. There's all this Sega
That was
stuff.
the merch hall too.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, if Scotty hurries up, I might be able to get over there for that. So yeah.
I'm thinking of Dreamcast.
Yeah, that's right. So we've lost him.
Scotty? Oh yeah, him. Don't put him on our podcast.
You mentioned Oxenfree. Did you see there's two games that I want to mention from that presser that Nintendo... Oh, 3 games that Nintendo did. Number one, The Longing. Did you see the 400-day long game? And it's literally one-to-one time. So it's like Animal Crossing. So on the 400th day, the Earth King rises from his slumber. And you've got to wait him out. Just like have your little guy there sitting there. You can read full versions of books. So they've got like Nietzsche and and basically it's him just waiting for the guy to come. And it's like 400 days real time. So once you start that game, the day you start that game, 400-day counter kicks in.
So if you forget,
well,
you lose interest.
And the game can literally be you just wait until the end. Do you know what I mean? So you can just wait till the end. But think of it like this. Think of all those completionists out there who are going to go, okay, so I've got this 400-day game. On the 29th day, this particular event happens. Like a crack forms in the thing. And if I'm awake on that day and I go down there, I'm going to see this thing happen. I'm going to be one of the only people who experience this. Because to do that again, you will need to play another 29 days. Now imagine that when you get to the 398th day and something happens in that game and you want to replicate that. I feel like someone needs to put the game on and run shifts. This is why I can't be a millionaire. If I was a millionaire, right, I'd go, cool, I'm hiring 3 people to pull 8-hour shifts, multiple 8-hour shifts, to sit there on a Twitch stream and just do the map. And I'll pay for a year and a half of their salary, like I'll put $200,000 towards it, just to see what this game offers from go to what. Like, to me, it's...
Interesting concept.
And that's the kind of shit that I love gaming for. Do you know what I mean? Like, as much as I love my, gruff man shooty shoot games, that's such a cool concept. Like, such a dumb, fucking stupid concept, but I love it. You know what I mean?
Thoughtful.
Yeah.
It's just it's an extreme version of a game called Stay, which is the one where you got the guy who's like suicidal. He's trapped and you don't know where. You got to help him, but if you don't talk to him, he'll eventually kill himself. My daughter played that and she got bored with him and let him die. He was needy. She goes to me, he was needy. Good luck to your boyfriend.
Jung is just sitting there salivating at the thought of that one.
But that's an extreme version of that though. A game that another game which was a real time. I remember Le Mans 24 Hour on the Dreamcast had a 24-hour mode. We had to play literally for 24 hours. Was it Oz or was it Kano that I did a stream of that with? And we just did the full 24-hour thing. It was brutal. And like Kano did most of it. No, it has to be Kano because I think me and Oz would have died if we did 24 hours. I almost did that drive into Sydney to see Hamilton.
Of course you drove. I forget that you're one of them as well, like me. The second game I want to bring up is...
I'm not hopping on a plane with everyone being Jeremy.
How good did Ninja Turtles game look? I don't know if you saw it. Like, it looks so good.
I haven't seen it.
Anyway, third one that I want to bring up.
Stop making up your own list.
Of all the games on the Dreamcast... Okay, if I said to you, Gerard, I'm like, okay, of all the games that you would love to see remastered and re-released from the Dreamcast onto modern consoles, what game would you say?
Choo-Choo Rocket.
Okay, and that's an easy one. You can get
online levels. No, actually, what's another one? Baku was Saturn.
Baku was Saturn. I mean, Baku's an okay answer, but it's never going to happen.
I've already got Daytona. Oh, Sega Rally, the original Sega Rally.
Okay.
They've never released, but that's only because they're never re-released.
So they're re-releasing House of the Dead without light guns.
Well, just play Typing of the Dead. Play the keyboard version.
Well, that was the first joke people made. It's like, wait, the Switch
was it?
The Switch supports keyboards, doesn't it? Like, yeah, we can play Typing of the Dead.
Not original.
And I mean, it's the internet. You got all these minds working together, parallel evolution. Anyway, and so. You've got this game where you have to move the stick to use the thing on the
Matty G said Shenmue. You can actually, they have done Shenmue. I've got Shenmue on the Xbox.
Now I am a nationalised Japanese, but before I was Chinese.
They can.
Okay, thanks.
What?
That's a Shenmue quote. It's a Shenmue quote.
Is it? Does that work?
Yeah. Okay. Before I was a Chinese, now I'm a Japanese. So,
okay. We played it through on stream, me and Oz. I don't remember. Anyway, but Shenmue, Matty G, because Matty has asked on the chat. Shenmue, I've got that on Xbox, Shenmue 1 and 2, but the controls haven't been fixed. The controls... Now, this is where you notice... Something Sony did good was the dual thumb controls, right? It still has the old Dreamcast style one thumbstick control, it's all clunky. Yeah. And when you move, it's like... And it would have been really good when they remastered Shenmue to bring it into a proper control scheme.
But they would have to basically remake it because you'd have to change the 3D engine.
Just would have been a million times better, and it just to me it made it just so difficult to play that I actually lost interest. But I'd already played it through on stream with Oz the original. But yeah, just the control was just didn't work. And it's weird how it's something that seems so simple, the control scheme. That is so significant in your experience playing a game.
Yeah,
you wouldn't think if I said what's the thing that made you enjoy this game much, control scheme would be not the first thing that come to your mind. But it probably is.
Resi did that. Last one that had the tank style control was 4.
That was scary.
And even then, that there was some flexibility in the 4. Like you couldn't run.
Somebody's
and shoot.
coming.
Yeah. Yeah, you couldn't run and shoot, but you could still shoot. Then 5 really went to that over the shoulder. 6 was basically Gears. You know what I mean? So if anything, like
you walked around slowly.
Yeah. Well, Gears gave us that at least. Whereas like he's had to do third person shoot and aim at the same, and shoot and run at the same time. Well, I think so. That's another good one there from Oz. Like playing Persona 4. So that Christmas Day falls on Christmas Day. So that'd be a great little series for like YouTube and stuff like that. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like,
my daughter changes the clock on the Switch all the time so she can get different things in Animal Crossing. Of
course she does.
Because Animal Crossing
does a time traveler.
Every time I turn the Switch on, it's a different date, which wouldn't work on a PlayStation.
Well, yeah, how good you see us, bro? Yeah.
What are we up to? I forgot. Anyway, let's. Do you want next one?
Yeah.
E3, okay, now E3. There was another thing at the E3 because that was an all virtual one. Nintendo is included because they just do their stuff virtual anyway. Because long ago Nintendo went. You idiots at E3 are dickheads.
Funnily enough, Nintendo doesn't have a show floor presence at Tokyo Game Show and hasn't for 10 years more, and it always has an E3 show floor presence.
Okay, do you know who's not at the virtual? E3, Sony, Electronic Arts, and Activision.
I mean, that's a big deal.
That's some big players.
I mean, Microsoft being there means that EA's there in some capacity. Sony not being there is Sony not being there. I wonder, obviously, that'll mean Epic's not there if Sony's not there.
I haven't read that story yet, have I? That's a good one. Hang on for that, people. There's something good coming up.
Nice, yeah. Go play Balan Wonderland and pay $90.
No, stop that. I was going to say that. No, okay, Matty. Sorry, interrupt. Not yes, Maddie has nominated Knights as a game. That was a Saturn game, not a Dreamcast game. Knights, I would love to have seen if Balan Wonderland was closer to Knights in gameplay and that. It is close to Knights in style and in story. You can tell.
And very simplistic kind
Yuji
of.
Naka, have I got it right?
Yuji Naka.
You can tell he's got that style.
Yuji Naka was Mr. Sonic too, but originally.
But well, it's got that style from Knights. It's about the children. It's about the children's inner fears and their worries about the world. But what it's sort of missing is it's a game that it feels like I've said before. The Banjo-Kazooie type game. What was it called? Ukulele, right?
Yeah.
But it feels it's sort of not a lot of fun to play anymore. And I hate saying
it hasn't picked up the reasons we left certain things behind. And
yeah.
Unless you're doing that to make an ironic point.
Oh, I just nailed it, but we'll get to that in a moment. Yes.
I feel like the reason Maddie actually said Nights is because that's another one where depending on the day that you play, it changes.
Christmas Nights was a cover CD though. Yeah. But now, Oz has said Dragon Force. I assume that's for a remake. That's another Saturday. Hey, Oz, I think you've got my Dragon Force, by the way. Actually, can you check? Because whenever I get my Polymega, I want to play it again. Dragon Force is a game that's disappeared off the face of the earth. Was fantastic and a lot of fun. We played on stream one night, really good. But it's a Saturn game; it doesn't count. It's not a Dreamcast.
Well, see, Panzer Dragoon's gotten all of its. Whoever owned the rights to Panzer Dragoon, I thought it was Sega, but apparently it's not. Must have got it back because Panzer Dragoon Orta, and another one are all available on Switch.
Yeah, but that was if I only had my notes from a podcast ago, I didn't mention at the time, but there's a company doing a whole heap of remakes, and they did the Panzer one.
Gotcha.
Yes, and I can't remember who it was.
It wasn't Envy or something, I assume. Yeah.
It wasn't one that I recognised. It was a major. Oh, you do? Okay. When I get my Polymega, Oz, I'll if I can grab it back off you. Whenever the Polymega gets released, because at the moment, it was supposed to come out February or March, and it hasn't, obviously. And now they're saying September, but it's been like 2 years of just
good luck getting a Chinese company to not take Sony's money and make your little shitty.
That's what all the people on the Polymega groups on Facebook don't get.
Yeah.
Look, and even Sony and Microsoft are having trouble getting their stuff done, and if they're trying to get them all, right, and they can put in massive contracts. They can go to the Chinese factories and just say, we'll just throw money at you, just make the parts we need for the PS5, right? And I'm sure Microsoft's doing the same, and also Nvidia and that, right? Yeah. So some big boys are doing that, right?
Especially with the Switch potential revision and stuff like that too.
So and that's big money. So you got someone like a Polymega who would have been ready to go ages ago, is basically just sitting there going, well, can you make our stuff, please?
And they're doing like a 50,000 unit order maximum. And so, Sony doing millions upon millions of units. It's not going to happen. Power Stone is the one I would say. I would love to see both Power Stones
that's on Dreamcast, and I've been playing that a bit, Oz. In fact, we should do a ye oldie style Old Game Plus theme, because I have a HDMI converter now for my Dreamcast, and Power Stone runs on it. So I had a little bit of play of it. It's actually still a lot of fun.
Does it have much delay to it?
No, can't.
Because that was always the problem with modern TVs.
You know how fast my reflexes are at 52 years old?
Sees the wall, sees the prompt that says press A and you're going to cover, doesn't press it, runs off.
I'd forgotten that. I'd done 6 playthroughs. It was original human.
I remember when you were doing it on stream, like, why aren't you using cover? And you're like, I'm like, are you trying to like style on us? You're like, what do you mean cover? I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean cover? Like,
how good was I to finish Human Revolution?
Pure brute force.
6 times.
Pure brute force.
And I had done that with the not being discovered mode and the not dying one. So I had those achievements. I didn't know there was cover.
I'm surprised you don't like Metal Gear Solid, because that's screaming.
I've just never got into it. I've just never. And actually, Matt keeps telling me, just try it. He reckons I'd love it, but I've just never really got into it.
Because that is pure. That same mindset, like there's European Extreme, there's all that kind of stuff where if you get seen, you're gone, kind of.
I've got the original Metal Gear on PC actually, I'd never got into it. Probably should, but anyway. I was going to say Polymega. Sorry, you know how they try and make it in China? They moved production to Myanmar. So poor bastards. Poor bastards.
That is an omega oof.
That is. They've oofed that so much it's clocked it. So that's old gamer joke. Do you still clock games?
Yeah, I'd say it. I say it. I'm old.
Cool. All right. Okay, here's one. My favourite game, because I mentioned Deus Ex. Avengers. which I don't think anyone plays. They're adding skins from the MCU, from the movies and shit, right?
Which they should have literally done from the start, but okay.
Okay, but you have to buy them. You can't earn them. You have to use real-world money to make your character. I don't give a shit. So the Avengers, good on you. Just keep making mistakes, dickheads. And when you've lost all your money, go back and make a Deus Ex game.
You got to feel bad for Crystal Dynamics, because you know they don't... Is it Crystal Dynamics, or is it just Ubisoft?
It was a Squeenix.
Yeah, so it's Eidos, former Eidos.
It was Squeens.
So you've got it...
it's a Squeenix.
Yeah,
Montreal or something?
Yeah, but they used to be Eidos. Oh, no,
Eidos Montreal. I'm probably getting that wrong, but yeah.
They
Canada.
You got to feel sorry for them, because you know they don't want this. Like, this isn't the universe they want to occupy.
Probably not. But anyway, whoever is in charge of the Avengers decision, just look upon what you have done.
Yeah.
Just gaze
upon what you've wrought.
Gaze upon. All right. I got to say here, by the way, these are empty. Why did you put these in front of me and you ate them all already? I mean, seriously, these are the best chocolate chip cookies.
They've been the best for years and years. They used to be called the decadent cookies at Kmart.
We are not sponsored by Coles.
The main reason was I had an interview that I couldn't use my gamer headset for. So I had to have...
There's stuff on your desk. This is a sex toy. What the hell is that?
No, it's a tripod.
Oh, okay.
What's wrong with your brain?
Oh.
I had to use a...
That's what I do with the cookies.
Yeah. I had to use something to block, because I couldn't use my gamer headset, so I had to use my my sitting mic.
Are we talking about cookies?
Yeah, no, we're talking about microphone. But then there was feeding back, and so I had to use that to cover up the sound. No, the fucking this. Oh my god, it doesn't matter.
Okay, where are we going? We're probably drifting off in old man stuff. That's now. Right. What are we looking at? Yeah, no, Avengers suck eggs. Just gaze upon what you've done. Okay, here we go.
Your boy's Epic, surely.
Which do I do first? Because they're kind of related. Okay, let's go first with Sony.
Right.
Sony has invested another $200 million in Epic Games, bringing the total that Sony has invested into Epic Games to now $1 billion. Did anybody know that?
But so they don't use Unreal Engine.
They clearly don't care about Japan. They are two eyes on China, not one eye on China.
They don't use Unreal for games. Do you know what I mean? Like all their games have proprietary engines. They've released Horizon and stuff on Steam, not on Epic.
What's that motorbike game coming out on? Is that
Days Gone. That's it. That's Steam, isn't it?
Yeah. So I actually want to play that. It looks interesting. Days Gone PC. Yep. Steam. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know.
Horizon Zero Dawn is Steam. Wow. I don't get that. Like, it has to be a play to either absorb them or part of it.
Okay, there's a Chinese strategy there, I'd say.
Yeah, because Tencent obviously would be the other big one putting money in.
Tencent owns like 10% of every company in the world.
Yeah, true.
There was always 10% of every company for some reason. No, the $200 million into Epic Games, and totals now that Sony has invested in Epic Games is now $1 billion. Okay, now this leads me to the next Epic Games story. You're still stunned by that, aren't you? I'm stunned they've sold all their PS5s.
I just looked at the roadmap. Like, okay, so you look at Microsoft. Let's say Microsoft bought Epic. You know what they're going to do? They're just going to roll them in and basically use Unreal Engine exclusively.
Oh, right? Sweeney would be the best Microsoft employee since Matrix.
Yeah, since Steve Ballmer.
Oh man, that is some A-grade bullshit amongst those three.
I feel like because Microsoft are getting cozier with Steam. Like the conversation around Steam is whether Halo and stuff will come directly as like native to Steam, which wouldn't surprise me if it did.
I think I have a feeling they are, but
You got to remember, Gaben used to be a Microsoft employee. He got pissed off because of how they treated the gaming studios.
Go with the rumor for now, and I'll look into it for the next podcast. I have a feeling that they are that the Halo games will come. Anyway, let's.
I'm pretty sure they are too.
The Halo ones are. Yeah. Anyway, yep. You were going to say?
Yeah. So I feel like them working closer together. I guess that's setting off a thing with, maybe this is that conversation around the idea of going to Steam with those games was made 2 or 3 years ago, which means it was before the Cali regime kind of started kicking in, before these investments into Epic, before all these kind of things. Yeah, it's the only thing I can think of. Like,
it'd be big news if they pulled all their games off Steam.
Because why would you release them and then pull them off? It doesn't make any sense.
It'd be a big media story, wouldn't it?
And
big publicity for it.
I mean, look, before you say what you're going to say, most likely what would happen is that North Korea would hack Steam to remove the Sony games from. That's what would happen. That's just gonna have to trust me.
You reckon Pixels is a bad movie? You should have seen the interview.
Oh man, I have no doubt. Seth Rogen, God, he's funny.
Seth Rogen shits me. Yeah,
he's awful. Don't worry.
But he's always gone on about all the sexism in Hollywood on Twitter, and I actually tweeted him and said, "Dude, you're a fat, ugly dickhead." Yeah. You are everything you're talking about. Sorry, Seth Rogen is everything he talks about.
As long as he doesn't.
No woman who's like him is going to get to the position he is in Hollywood, and he's been able to, based on all the things he's railing against. So Seth Rogen, be the change you want to see. Fuck off.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. I mean, that's like when you see people on Reddit and they're like, "Oh, the world's overpopulated. We've got too many humans as it is," and yet they're never the first ones to volunteer to commit suicide. Like, to me, that seems like
people driving utes around with "fuck off, we're full on it." And then
off you go then. Yeah,
they got 3 kids.
Yeah, how'd you go, Charlie? We got room for another one then.
Anyway,
that's those kind of absurdo ad reductum kind of arguments. So yeah.
Yeah, but if it's against someone I don't like, I'm okay. So anyway, now Epic. Where are we going with that? Seth Rogen's a dickhead.
Yeah.
Epic Games Store. Now, okay, this is some more news out about out of the court case. I didn't actually put much about this. I figured we'd be getting close to an hour. Soul Reaver. Oh yeah. That's actually that's one of Oz's. That's one of the ones he wouldn't let me play.
Yeah.
You know, I told you on stream, right? We'd get games, and if I was kind of liked it, I was allowed to play it as well. But if I was really liked the game, I wasn't allowed to play it.
I saw you two play Sonic though, so I remember.
I never played 2D Sonic, so I never got good at it.
I can tell. Yeah.
The first Sonic I played was Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast.
Yeah, right. It's a good song. Get away from the city.
It is so much fun. The Dreamcast with HMI. Anyway, okay. No, Epic. So in the court case between Epic and Apple,
which Epic started, by the way.
Yeah, it's all a big publicity thing. They're all full of shit. So Epic, I actually support Apple in this one.
Yeah, for sure. I know it's my soul, but
because people forget that back in the early days when you could have payment processes in every app, Apple's App Store was just like a criminal sort of little underworld. It's like there was I know it was on Android. At one point on Android it was worse. There was 11 Combank apps. Only one of them was done by Commonwealth Bank.
Whereas, Apple was one of the first ones to really actually pay attention to their authentication process.
And they have to. And look, I get that. Look, whether you agree or not with them charging 30%, they are providing the infrastructure for it. They're providing all that. I mean,
and they're upfront about it. It's not like, oh, now that you've signed with us, it's now 30%. You can remove your app at any time. They'll just stop support, And I have
a feeling, didn't Apple drop theirs to like 10% for indies?
Yes, 10% for indies until you make $1 million.
Yeah, which is okay, fair enough. That's like tax the rich.
Yeah.
That's a concept I'm okay with. I'm all for it. Tax the little guys. The big guys.
There's a reason we have a graduating tax system in modern democracies like Australia. It's just not as
for now
spread out as it should be. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now so Epic Game Store in the court case basically said that, or Epic said their game store will not be profitable until at least 2023. Right. And the quote was, and this is from Sweeney himself, the Trump of video games. He said they have front loaded their marketing and user acquisition costs, to get market share. So basically, they're spending like mad on free games, on trying to get users over, which means if they ever do defeat Steam in that market or Apple, if they ever do, you'll end. We talked about this before. Yeah. This is US business, right? But anyway, I'll get to the end of this, and we'll talk about how US businesses work, and it's wrong. Anyway, so the Epic Game Store is not profitable till 2023. I think Apple said no, it's going to be closer to 2027. The way you're blowing money, and some of the numbers I saw thrown around were a lot, but. This is the American way to do business that I hate, and it is. See, there's ways to do business. There's you're the old merchant style, right? Where you buy a good or a product people want that they find hard to get, you sell it to them at a profit because they find it hard to get. Or the other way is like I do in my business, and this is a very trade way. You have a skill, and you sell that skill for a market rate that it agrees on. The other one is if you're an artist. It's very hard to make money as an artist, which is one of the reasons I'm a big fan of a UBI.
People don't appreciate art and how it escalates.
Nobody wants to pay for art, right? But this is a big reason.
People don't want to pay for journalism, let alone art. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, see, both are made up, but at least art's got value, right? At this point in time,
there's good journalists. There's Michael West.
There's good. Yeah, okay. Yes, good journalism. Yes. People won't pay. This is one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of UBI, Universal Basic Income, because if you are an artist, or even if you want to be a citizen journalist, you can still get some money, and you're not sitting there trying to beg the government to blackmail Facebook into giving you money.
Well, imagine trying to make a long running community TV show when there's a pandemic on and you don't have consistent work or any money coming in. Do you know what I mean? That'd be real tough.
Yeah, but don't you get money from Facebook now? And Google?
Oh, yeah.
Surely you do. Surely
no,
you do. Didn't the government go into bat for you?
You know the rule about that is you have to earn 150,000.
Yeah, 150,000, and you have to have it. And also, there's another condition. You have to be decided by, because Facebook and Google got this put in. Yeah. They get to decide if you are important, like community information or not.
Yeah.
And they have turned down some companies that meet the other qualifications. And one of them was like a climate change activist publication where they said you're not required by a community or something. So along those lines, you can Google it. Anyway, the Epic Game Store is the way, especially tech stuff happens. US business model that I can't stand because I don't believe it's genuine business. Genuine business, like I said, is sourcing a product and selling it at profit because
keep in mind Australia has its duopolies as well. We've got Coles and Woolies, and we've got like
you have to be friends with a politician in Australia to make serious money. Let's be honest about that. We're basically a Central American model. But the US model is to get investors and basically spend like mad to wipe out your competition and then charge whatever you want.
Well, again, it's like Amazon's the biggest company, so they must be delivering a good product. No, they just deflated the market rate with all the rich people's money. For years they depressed, the ability for companies to compete in that space. And now that they're out of it, it's like, okay, well, there's no one left except us because we could afford to take the hit. That's what Netflix did that to an extent, except that Netflix, the people they were trying to take out were people like Disney and these entertainment companies. So you don't feel sorry for them. Like, who was Netflix?
Yeah, but they're back. They're back now. The big one's Uber. Uber's blown like $4 billion. It's mostly Saudi Arabian sovereign wealth fund. So they've got what our future fund was supposed to be, but it actually ended up being used for politicians' super. Anyway, when Costello took, let's talk about that. So Uber's like that. So basically, Uber's model was destroy everybody else. And just keep hemorrhaging money until everybody else is gone. Then do what you want. That's the US, especially tech model. Definitely the US venture capital model. What they do. I don't know if you ever dealt with venture capitalists. I have. Okay, and basically they say normally the first thing is you have to have a certain amount of customers or subscriptions before they'll even talk to you. Now I went to an AWS developer presentation where venture capitalists stood up and took the biggest load of shit I've ever heard in my life, where he said, if you've got a good idea, there's no lack of money. You'll be able to get funding for any good idea. That's not true, because I've met with people like that, and they basically want the people we met with wanted their wives put on the board of the company, and they wanted us to pay director's insurance for them in case anything went wrong, so they were covered. And we had a bunch of conditions like that put on us or requested from the venture capital people. Anyway, the other thing they want is they just want now as many subscriptions as possible. So it's a grab for all the market you can, put money, sink money in, lose money as much as possible to get as market space. And then you can set your price. You can do it. And that's US model. And that's what Epic Game Store is kind of doing now. I'm personally not a big fan of it, and I'd rather see that fail.
It is one of those things. So there was a great tweet thing the other day of a guy who used to run like an organizational software, like Asano, right? And he was saying how the guy who was in charge of Asano met him, and he said, well, they had lunch together, and he said, I'm just telling you now, we're going to bury you. So if you need to divest, do it now. This is a courtesy I'm doing it. And this guy, at that point in time, they had the biggest market share, they had the best app.
They had the best product by a mile.
By a mile. And he just laughed at him. He goes, you'll kill yourself, blah, blah, blah. And then over time, he was saying, like, we were releasing these products, we were doing it on a shoestring budget. And then eventually it got to the point where Sano wasn't a crap app anymore. It was as good as ours, and then it would do one extra feature. So but also, pumped in to try,
Facebook filled up with their ads. Yes. Like their advertising just went through the roof.
And that was what he said. He goes, despite all this, like I'm putting my own money in, I'm hemorrhaging money. The CFO is telling me not to do it anymore. On top of that, suddenly there's a huge ad spend on Facebook, and it doesn't matter anymore anyway.
The best product doesn't always win. Especially in tech, it doesn't. And it's something there for people who use these products. Don't just jump at the new one. Like, do decide to support the best one. If everybody did that, then we wouldn't be able to be
Well,
part of this game.
I always love when people say, "Oh, but you know, what are you talking about? There's no glass ceilings or anything. It's all meritocracy." I'm like, if this is what meritocracy, your definition of meritocracy has brought us.
Look, there's no meritocracy anywhere in the world. Yeah. Maybe to a certain point, but honestly, there's not.
You're still pulling from the same. Usually, you're still pulling from the same pool of private school kids. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's true. That's what it is, and it's a lot of it indicates that. I was going to say Sony could have put their $1 billion in. Do you remember Microsoft made a HD DVD drive?
Yes.
And they did it just to muddy the water, just to be a troublemaker. Sony, $1 billion for Sony, they may be putting in Epic Games effectively to fund the legal case. Yeah. Maybe they're just being troublemakers. Maybe because Epic's bothering, they're threatening Steam a bit. They're bothering Apple. To them, Sony might be investing that money just to
arms distance themselves, like a proxy war.
They're not doing it, but you know they're okay. Yeah. It's like the US selling weapons to Saudis.
They're funding the Sandinistas. Epic are the Sandinistas.
Or ISIS. Like the US is giving ISIS all their weapons and money. Allegedly, do we have to do that? So they're not really the ones doing it. Yeah. It's the other ones. And you know what? Sony may be doing the same thing. Where in this scenario, Epic is ISIS.
My only thing there is like there is no them putting another $200 million into Epic. There is no straightforward path that my brain sees for the reason to do that. Like there has to be something either we don't know or something that we haven't been told yet.
Something linked to the Chinese market.
I
guarantee every single thing Sony does is about the Chinese market. I guarantee. In fact, Sony won't be alone. The whole video game market. And I remember I wrote the thing about it, and I stand by it. The Chinese market is driving everything, and it's what may or may not be true. It may be just what the Western companies think they have to do, but it's all about that.
It's all fake. Again, the only thing I would say you brought up earlier. The only difference I would say between a lot of these companies. Okay, so I'm going to list a bunch of companies: Amazon, Microsoft, Sony, Epic, Valve, Nintendo,
Apple,
EA, Apple, Activision. Which out of those, in the criteria in my head, is the odd one out?
Out of all those?
Out of all those.
On what thing? Microsoft, but maybe actually you said Amazon as well. I was going to say Microsoft because it's maybe Microsoft because it's offering to spend.
If I said to you Valve, why would it be Valve? Why would Valve be the odd one out of all those companies?
No, I was going to go with Microsoft because it offers infrastructure as well as consumer product. But I don't know. Valve, go Valve. I don't know.
Valve is not a publicly traded company.
Interesting.
It is owned by Mr. Gaben.
So it's not making... See, this is if you're making somebody else money, you're kind of safe, especially in the American model of doing things. Yeah. They're not making somebody else money.
Yeah, it uses a flat structure where employees decide to do for themselves. But yes, as far as I'm aware, and I could be wrong, I don't think they've ever floated. I don't think they've been floated in any market. And they're just down the road from Microsoft. Like, he used to be a Microsoft boy for years and years. And
not publicly traded.
I'm nearly certain they are not publicly
traded. Every company I've ever been involved with that started making a bit of money got hard on for an IPO. They're just so excited about it. Just dollar. In fact, I worked at a company, and if my friend Darren's watching this, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I worked at a company that was offered. There was only like 30 employees at the time. I was one of them, and we were flying, right? And this is .com boom. They were offered to be bought out for, I think it was $120 million. Yeah. And the CEO told me and Darren and some other very senior people at the time at like Friday night dinner, we had TGI Fridays. He's telling us that we're going to take the money. He goes, no, we're going to do an IPO. We're going to float in the share market. And we're going to make far more money than that's excited. Now, myself and the others, we all stood to make a share of that, right? $120 million means I wouldn't be here. I'd be on my yacht in the Bahamas. And they said no and didn't make the share float. Went broke. So IPOs are normally the share offerings what companies get excited about. The fact that Valve hasn't. Credit to Gabe. They found the hierarchical structure because they have their own publishing thing. So they chose a flat structure. It's an open allocation system. This is always the joke with the game. You basically work on whatever you want to work on at Valve, and that makes them a target.
But you own them. You own that. Yep. So I'm the current project lead on this. And every 6 months, I think you have to meet with Gaben and tell him what you've done and what you've accomplished.
They're not making investors or they're not making any share funds money. That's going to piss a lot of people off.
So I'm nearly certain that
the US model is you've got to make somebody else money.
I'm nearly certain that they don't they're not a publicly traded company. So there you
well,
go.
it is. The US model. You have to make somebody else money, or otherwise you are a target.
Yeah.
You are from the others because they either want to buy you and control you, or they want to share.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the money the Steam makes, that is very interesting.
Makes me mad.
What's
I
that?
should have bought in. We're talking about stock market with Aussie Broadband. They offered long term customers a buy in first. I think it was $2,000 in at $1.
That's $3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know the best way to make money?
Index fund.
No, to have money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the gambling rule. You're like, don't gamble small, gamble big.
Do you know those jokes about how to run a $1 million company, start with a $1 billion company? They're all crap, right? Yeah. The fact is, if you have money, you will make money because you can do those things and you can be informed about them. If you're if you're in certain panels and committees in Parliament, you can hear about AstraZeneca getting the exclusive contract to Australia, and therefore you should probably buy AstraZeneca. Especially if the head of that company happens to be a former member of your party and former I can't remember the position, but a senior one. Look, how many times do you hear people say, "Oh, look, if I should have bought like 10 blocks of that land, or I should have bought that." And but the thing is, 99.9% of people can't, right? Or 99%. Let's say 99% to see with the 1% thing can't. The 1% of people can, and they do.
Well, they're the ones making money out of the pandemic. It's
why they do.
Yeah.
And look, that's one big reason. It takes money to make money. It's one of the truest things. Anyway, where are we at? That's it for games.
It. I think we're good.
I think Sony's putting $1 billion in, by the way, to cause trouble. I'll go with that. Thanks to Oz and Maddie and Seffi and all that for joining in the chat, jumping on and commenting. That's awesome. Have you got anything to add?
Catch Warriors Ranking Battles back. Don't forget to check out Catch Warriors online. Videogame Plus.
CatchWarriorsLeague.com.au.
That's a very good site.
I think I've got the .com as well. But anyway, yep.
There are hopefully cool things coming soon for us, but it's been it's a long road, and I kind of can't tell you why we've been slow, but it's been hard coming back to TV because again we're not allowed to film it. The main reason is we're not allowed to film at RMIT. So people who want to know why we haven't come back, because we can't film at RMIT, and we didn't want to do another webcast show. Like if we're going to do that, we'd spin it off into its own thing. So
might as well just do a podcast.
Exactly. And so that was the mindset of that's why we keep doing the podcast until such point as we're comfortable with what format we want to do. But do not forget to to hassle Paul Fletcher about an extension of the thing. They were meant to support us to move
hassle
on.
All the bastards.
They haven't sent us a single red penny to facilitate that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they make another deal with
Can I just send an invoice to Microsoft and Google for
for informative news? Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks Microsoft and Google for sending... not Microsoft. Facebook, sorry. Thanks, Facebook and Google, for sending us all that money.
Yeah, we're making millions.
Yep.
No.
Being a media outlet. Well, okay, look. TV show that's done over 300 episodes.
Yeah.
Podcast, streams, everything. You're a media company.
Yeah.
You are. Yeah. You are. You probably got more people working for you than some small media outlets. You're more sensible people than Sky News has, all combined.
No, except for Glare, but yeah.
We'll count him for the purpose of this.
For the head count, yeah.
For the head count. But so I still find that bizarre. That it should be like, you know how the music stuff works.
Yeah.
You're a band. They play your song on radio. You get money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Should have been like that. Yeah. Or you know what else they could have done? They could have actually got Facebook and Google and that to actually pay tax. That would have been
crazy. Crazy. That's crazy.
What an amazing thing. Amazing how they went after him to try and get money.
Instead of paying tax, they pay that tax money to Channel 9 now.
Strange. Yeah, strange how that was what they wanted. Anyway,
on that note, I'll wrap it up.
NewGamePlus.tv.
Yep. We still stream every Monday night. We're going to try and expand it more. It's just been tough lately. So tomorrow night I'll be back with Monster Hunter Rise with the boys. Might be doing some Valheim stuff because Valheim's taken off in our crew. So if there's enough people who are interested in some Valheim, we'll do that as well. You should try Valheim. It's like grown-up Nordic Minecraft.
I'm playing Minecraft. I got parrots now. I built a house in a jungle biome. It's the best thing I ever did. It's got pandas. I got a family of pandas that live in my house now. I planted bamboo. The family of pandas come. I got parrots.